I have a lot of friends that really feel like it's a hopeless fight now to fight for our conservative ideals. How do we kind of persuade them that it's not so hopeless and that we do really have a chance to fight and make ourselves more known?
Oh wow, it's no way hopeless. In fact, I think we're in good shape. It's tough. It's a tough fight because we're trying to take power away from an entrenched establishment. They don't like that, and we're trying to do it by democratic means and not taking to the streets and hurting other people. And it's hard to do. What we're trying to do is hard. If you look over in England, where all they want is their government back, and the EU is like, no, you can't have it. And not only that, the government is saying, no, we don't want it because then we'd have to do stuff. It's a hard fight. But let me tell you two things, okay? I lived through Jimmy Carter. Those were terrible years. You went to get a gallon of gas in your car and you could only go every other day. This is in America. You could only go every other day to get gas because they were out of gas, right? You had to line up. Once you got there, you would line up for an hour, 2 hours. Inflation was insane, right? Unemployment was through the roof. And Jimmy Carter would get up and give these speeches. Well, this is just the way this is the way it is. It's like, we have to support America. We have to, say something nice about America. Ronald Reagan came into office, and within 2 years, it turned around. Suddenly, it all turned around. And that's what changed me from a liberal to a conservative. I thought, gee, everything that old coot said was true. Everything he did worked, right? It turned the country around. We had 25 years of almost unbroken prosperity after that. So I can't tell you how hopeless it seemed under Jimmy Carter. It's hard. Go watch the movie Miracle about the hockey game. You'll see how hopeless it was under Jimmy Carter and how amazing it was for the next 25 years, economically at least, right? The other thing was, I lived in New York at the end of the 70s and the 80s. It was hell. It was hell. There was a cartoon in the Daily News. It was so bad, there was a cartoon in the Daily News of people paddling on their briefcases to get off the island of Manhattan and to get to safety, okay? There was the Son of Sam killing people. There were riots on my birthday when the blackout happened. The heat was terrible. The cold was terrible. The city was filled with homeless people. I went to work at a radio station at 3 o'clock every morning. Here's how I got to work every single morning. I came out of my apartment. I took off until I reached the Korean grocery where the prostitutes hung out. And then I stood with the prostitutes because I knew nobody would kill me where there were people until I could get a cab. And then the girl said, so long, honey. And I went to work. I did that every day. I was the only guy in the newsroom who didn't get mugged, okay? That was New York. Rudy Giuliani took over New York. He was called a racist every day. He was called a Nazi every single day. He was just like Trump. He didn't care. He was just too aggressive and honest and mean to care. And it happened every single day. By the time he left that city, it was the queen of the world. It was the jewel in the crown of the world. It was the greatest city on earth. And now it's falling back because the leftists have gotten into it again. It's never too late. It is never too late because the trick is you don't have to get there. You just have to turn the ship around and everything gets better almost immediately. You just have to start heading in the other direction and things change. So I think, listen, if Trump wins the next election, I think things are going to go pretty well for this country for quite a long time. And over 8 years, you get a lot of people who grew up under prosperity and they start thinking, that worked, That's what I thought. I was a liberal. I hated Ronald Reagan because they treated Reagan just like they treated Trump, same way. And then one day I thought, he said the economy would come back, and it did. He said the Berlin Wall would come down, and it did. And nobody else said those things. So maybe I should change my mind. It's never too late.